on Saipan, Tinian, and Rota. Our regional coverage of the Northern Marianas, reporting what you need to know, asking the hard questions, and sharing your voice, your view on the issues that matter in good times and in challenging ones and in changing times. KUAM CNMI, keeping our community at the center because we are better together. The founders of KUAM had a vision to be a source of information and entertainment for our All right, Kim, first of all, congratulations. You want to just give your brief intro as the community hears from you through the press for the first time?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to thank everybody who came out to vote. Elections are a way in which we as a community determine a direction. And when I started off this journey and I started whittling down the priorities, one of, the things that I shared with the community that I wanted to focus on was the economy. And so I also came out and said that it was going to be a three-prong approach. The first is to restore the tourism industry. Second, to immediately work on the CW situation, which is about to end here in 2029. And three, work on trying to improve the cost of living by addressing the utilities issue. Elections are mandates, and the people have decided to pick me as the team captain for the CNMI at the federal level, and that's the game plan. But aside and separate from that, I would like to be the type of delegate that consistently engages community stakeholders. So I would like to, in short order here, after things get a little bit settled down, just start reaching out to different stakeholders in the community to sit down and have a conversation about where gaps are, where are areas of opportunities, and work out a plan where we're not duplicating resources or manpower, and just strategizing on how to bring a whole of government approach to some of these health and human services issues that is impacting our community.
Kim, I wanted to also just take a moment to acknowledge the history that you made. First woman, also first from Tinian, I believe.
Yeah.
And first Republican.
Yeah.
Do you have any reflections on the history that you made with your win?
To be honest, right now I'm just feeling a little bit overwhelmed. It's been a long campaign journey, and that never crossed my mind throughout this process. And I think it never crossed my mind because I grew up watching my mom become the first, one of the first, her and Auntie Darling Agumaro, serving in the first CNMI legislature. And so, I didn't think that, I didn't feel that this was about me as a woman, but I do believe that one of the reasons why I am here is the fact that so many women came out to support and wanted to feel that sense of empowerment. And to that end, I hope that, the young girls and young boys too across the Commonwealth can see me and use me as an example that, no matter how hard your life has been, or, what adversities you face growing up, if you work hard and you have a goal and you work towards that goal, that nothing is impossible.
All right, I know we're not even 12 hours out from the certification of the results, but can you tell us what the last few hours have been like? I understand you've been getting a lot of calls, and what the timeline is, because it's going to move fast. You're going to get in January. Right?
Yeah, it is moving fast, actually. So, well, I went and took a short nap, and I couldn't sleep because the phone was ringing off the hook. I woke up to about 250 messages and about 70 missed calls, and so I got up and started returning calls and messages. And I've had several federal officials call, and so I had to return those calls and just begin that dialogue and conversation. So the work is starting now in terms of reaching out to our federal partners and having these conversations about what the priorities are. The governor also reached out and gave his congratulations, and I told him that we're going to have to sit down to discuss what his priorities are and how this position can assist for him to be able to accomplish some of those priorities, and to also assist with the follow-ups for the 902 consultation and make sure that stays as a hot topic agenda item that needs to be addressed, because I do believe that those are very critical issues that need to be addressed. And you know election is over. We all work for the people. We have to put politics aside, and I'm reaching across all the aisles to be able to have those conversations.
Can you tell us? So, are you able to disclose your your schedule? You're already going to be in DC in a matter of weeks, right?
So actually, preliminarily, they've sent out a schedule, and once the House receives the certification from the Election Commission, the work to prepare travel, which is set for the 12th through the 22nd to do orientation work. So that's already on the schedule. This afternoon, I'll be out at the Garapan Fishing Basin to, just do a roadside waving to show the people of the Commonwealth my appreciation. And Friday, I head down the road to do the same. And Saturday, I head down to Tinian to do the same, and to spend a little bit of time with the family before I come back up and get myself situated to get to work.
I don't know if it's too premature, but I know a lot of the questions we're already getting is who's going to be on your staff. So, do you mind just indulging the public maybe on what your plans are there?
Well, I'll say this. I believe in continuity. Continuity is very important to ensure that the work that has been done and the institutional knowledge that has been laid is not thrown out. That's very important, I think, to the success of any delegate being able to just hit the ground running. And so I have been in communications with one of Congressman Kilili's key staffers that have expressed their interest in, continuing to stay on and to be a part of the mission to level up the CNMI. So I'm really excited about that.
And I saw on your Facebook earlier today you went live, I think, and you said it was a relatively peaceful election. Did you want to just explain? So you believe that?
Yeah, well, I think this past several election cycles has been just so nasty, right, in terms of the way that, we campaign. And one of the things that I, really expressed to the team is that that's not what we're going to do. We want to be uplifting. We want to remain focused on what it is that we're trying to accomplish. And I think it's counterproductive and really just hypocritical to go out there and be mudslinging, right? If you're not focusing on the policies that you want to implement and the work that you're offering to the people, then you're not talking about how to be a part of the solution. And this election was really nice in the sense that, there wasn't much of that. Obviously, people are going to have different opinions. I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. But, regardless of whether people voted for me or not, I'm here to serve everyone, and that's exactly what I intend to do.
You only have 2 years to do the work, and then another be election again. So what is your top priority starting when you start?
Well, as I've stated, it's the economy, right? And one of the things that I've been working on even before this election is trying to restore Annex 6. We need to open up all markets, and folks are saying that, hey, there's nothing that's stopping tourists from China from landing now. But the truth of the matter is that without direct flights, that is allowed by restoring Annex 6, folks are not going to come here. They're going to go, from what we've been hearing from travel agents, is that most of the folks who want to come out here to vacation have to, fly 8 hours from wherever their location is to Korea just to be able to get here. So, it's not very competitive, right? They're going to go look at shorter destinations, destinations where there are more amenities, more things to do, and we just can't compete at that level at this moment. And so, the tourism industry has been the bread basket of the CNMI, and I do agree that we also need to diversify the economy, but we can't just throw out the baby with the bathwater and say, oh, we're just going to focus on what's happening now with the military, or let's wait and find or create a new industry. We got to fix, remove the barriers right now that's stopping our tourism industry from fully thriving, and that's the focus. And I'm not waiting until I get sworn in to start working on that. I've been reaching out to folks within the Department of Transportation, and and the folks from Chamber and HandMe. We just got to work together and just figure out how to get it restored.
Kim, do you expect any kind of pushback from your mission of creating a special legislation, like for example, pushing for Annex 6 or any kind of a tourism legislation? Do you anticipate any kind of pushback from federal officials, from the states?
The last communications I saw that was shared with me was communications between the Senate and Department of Transportation saying that CPA's application, which we submitted during my time there as chair, is still under consideration. And that communication was sometime in October, late October. And so, that tells me that that application is still viable, right? But I think what we've been doing as a Commonwealth is, we're sending mixed messages, right? And, there has been some pushback with regards to the from the administration in terms of, fighting or advocating to restore Annex 6. But, I campaigned on that platform. And I intend to deliver, because it is critical, not just for the tourism industry, but for every single person who calls these islands home, because that is where we get our money, and that's the fastest way. And while as we work on that, we need to start talking about how do we actually diversify the economy given our current situation and the conditions of our islands. And so I don't know what the pushback would be, but I have not heard from the federal partners in terms of this conversation that we're having locally, that it's a national security concern, right? Chinese tourists are going to California, to places where there are actual bases. There are no base here. So, but if there is some pushback, then, well, that's the job of the delegate to push back.
In regards to the CW comment that you just mentioned, you want to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in for extension, or do you?
I want a whole new program. I mean, if the fastest route basically to keep the program intact is extending the program, let's do that. But I think what we need to do is revamp it so that it is CNMI friendly, right? These processing times are taking too long. We need boots on the ground to be able to do the temporary labor certifications, and folks are not waiting. That's just unacceptable. Whatever that policy is going to look like, it has to consider the economic conditions, and that conversation needs to be had with our federal partners who agree, right, that we do need to address this issue.
Would you advocate that all these decisions, CWs, maybe granting visa, should be done here locally? We have an office here that is just being done for interview.
Exactly.
So why can't we utilize that particular office for for a localized kind of like decision-making process for
Right.
this particular workforce?
I do believe that we need to, right, empower our local Department of Labor, who works closely with USDOL, to be able to actually do the processing here, and that has to come with funding, right? And so I that is something that I definitely support, and I hope to be able to check off the list.
Anything in closing for the public to know?
Not really. I just want to really say thank you, CNMI, for believing that we as a Commonwealth are capable and we as a Commonwealth are worthy of the fight. And you know, some of these federal policies just simply do not work out here, and it is impacting our economy. And you know, we're gonna work hard. The work has already begun, and I hope to be able to continue to have these conversations with all of you on a regular basis, because the job of the delegate is to be your voice, and I cannot do it. I cannot do it alone. I need everybody's help. I need everybody to level up, to come and have a seat at the table, to have these conversations, and I need the media as well to help in terms of disseminating information and to get the word out in terms of, you know, what it is that we're trying to do, and just rally the community to be able to, you know, focus on priorities so that we can, you know, rank them in order, because obviously we have a very short time, right? And so we all kind of have to agree on what are the priority items and begin to immediately address those.
On Saipan, Tinian, and Rhoda, our regional coverage of the Northern Marianas, reporting what you need to know, asking the hard questions, and sharing your voice on the issues that matter in good times and in challenging ones and in changing times. KUAM CNMI, keeping our community at the center because we are better together.